In March of 2018, the Garfield Center for Public Leadership took a trip to Paris, France for about a week. And the purpose of this trip was not only to see Paris and to experience it firsthand and get a sense of the culture, which is always a part of what our trips are about, but it had a very specific academic focus as well, which is recently we had the election of Donald Trump. On the other hand, the French had the election of Emmanuel Macron. And interestingly, although those two gentlemen have very different views about a lot of different things, they have found a real common bond and have developed a rapport and a sense of working together that's really unprecedented. In fact, Emmanuel Macron gets along with Donald Trump effectively in a way that is pronounced beyond that of any other international leader. And so we're really interested in seeing and exploring how the U.S.-French diplomatic relationship is going to evolve and where that could go. And so in this course, we took a lot of trips to a lot of different institutes, organizations, aspects of the French government, representatives of the U.S. government, and in the process saw a lot and had a really good time. And so this video is here to help explain what we did and what we saw.
I think the most useful intellectually was the meeting we had at the foreign ministry. Um, with the people that we met with, they were very intelligent and they answered all of our questions. They gave us a great overview of what's going on between U.S. and French relations, and they were interested in what we thought was going to happen. And I thought that was interesting because they also saw that we as students and the upcoming generation, we're the ones that will be taking the world to another level eventually.
Okay. So among our various trips, we went to the finance ministry and their rather famous, somewhat infamous, large building, hulking structure on the east side of the city. And that was a dramatic experience in part because a lot of the tour turned out to be an art exhibit tour. There's amazing art throughout all of the finance ministry, and it could have been a museum that we were getting taken on a tour of, as opposed to a bunch of people sitting around talking about finance. We also got taken up, and this has got to be a rare event. In fact, they told us this was a rare event. We got taken up on the helipad at the top of this structure, which I suppose is there to allow these people easy escape if things go badly in France or Paris at any given moment. But at any rate, they have a helipad. And so we got to stand up on that and look out over the city, which was really unique. Holly's been with us for 2 years. And how would you say this trip had fit in overall with the programming of the Institute that we've been pursuing, not only this year, but in sort of the general time that you've been with us?
So since when I was first introduced to the Garfield Center of Public Leadership, I was told the main focus was international politics. And going to places like London and now Paris, just tying in doing the actual field work experience gives students a chance to be able to use some of the knowledge that they gained from the past meetings that we've had, past conversations, and even the research we have to do beforehand to apply it and be like, okay, so this is how we can ask questions to these people, this is how they will respond, and then we will have to analyze what might happen next.
I mean, we discussed everything from the U.S. relationship with Paris, we discussed the issues in North Korea, we discussed the Paris Climate Accords as far as economic things and ecological things go. And these are things that are inherently interesting to me, and I want to go forward in looking at international policy as a career path. And finding people to have these discussions with is kind of hard because it's not something that's really that interesting to a lot of people just in your day-to-day life. But then when we can get a group of people together that are all interested in these things and have these really good discussions, it really helps shape how you understand these things. And I think it'll be really beneficial for me going forward, just looking at furthering education and jobs in the future.
As someone who has been to Paris multiple times, who lived in Paris when I was younger, who has always been infatuated with that city and the artistic scene and the historical lineage of it with regard to writers and artists, it was really important to me to bring my students to Les Deux Magots Cafe, the most famous cafe in the city, and to just simply sit there and have a cup of coffee or a hot chocolate and act like a Parisian, to actually experience what that's really like as opposed to just rushing off to tourist sites. Anyone can do that on any trip, but to really know that city, you've got to sit down and stop moving and start looking around. And that was critical in my view, that we accomplished that on this trip, as critical as going off to a foreign ministry or finance ministry. I want them to experience what Parisian life is